Hi everyone, it's Chenzo from Reality Art Pod, here to talk about the challenge season 39 episode 12 titled A Legend Returns. Before I dive in, I hope you all had a happy new year. It's kind of nice having some time when there's not a lot of shows except for the challenge on. I put a link in the subject of my videos to my season 39 playlist so you can go back and watch my previous recaps if you missed them. But let's dive into it. They all return to the house and Raven is happy because she just defeated Laurel in elimination. Raven is feeling betrayed by James and Mariah for saying her name. Michelle reflects to Berna and Olivia that Laurel being gone is a relief. I feel like the show is really going above and beyond to really highlight this Laurel-Michelle rivalry, and I'm saying it right now, I'm ready for a rival season. Olivia opens up here saying she feels some pressure to be amazing based on how much the fans loved her the last season, and Nerys is in the middle of the house with Horacio and Kylant on one side, and Jay and Michelle on the other side. At this point, I wrote in my notes, remember when Jay, Michelle, Asif, and Nerys made that four-person alliance that never met again? Nerys video chats with her family and tells them that she's been seeing Horacio romantically and they're happy about that. Then her family tells her that Olivia's been talking shit about her and calling her broke. How did they find out about this? This season has way too much interference from the outside world. The next day, Olivia and Michelle meet with Nerys in the kitchen. Michelle brings up to Nerys that Horacio has been hanging out with Zara a lot. Seems like they're trying to cause trouble in Nerys' relationship. Nerys is not having it. She feels secure. Olivia continues, saying that Horacio is shady for not telling her that he was coming on this season after Ryder dies, and she feels like it's selfish and he doesn't care about her friendship. I did find it kind of baffling that Horacio wouldn't tell Olivia that he was coming on this season. Nerys continues to go to bat for Horacio, and Olivia tells Nerys to use her brain. Nerys keeps her cool, but now in her head she probably is like, this girl Olivia thinks I'm broke and dumb as hell. At the daily challenge, they'll be playing We All Fall Down, and they'll be split into 4 teams of 4, 2 teams at a time. They'll get on a platform with a hanging wall between them and try to push the entire team off the platform using the wall. This will be done tournament style, and I like this challenge. It's simple and there will be falling. I like falling. Though I will say I was underwhelmed that there weren't any slow motion falls into the water. Maybe they had the shots and they didn't find them interesting. The teams are Kylant, Michelle, James and Mariah, Ed, Berna, Horacio and Zara, Asif, Raven, Jay, and Colleen, and Emmanuel and Corey will be teamed up with blooming besties Olivia and Nerys. Before the challenge starts, there's some drama because Mariah pulled Michelle aside, asking her not to throw the challenge. They have a little fight in their interview before the challenge. Michelle is offended that Mariah would accuse her of such a thing. The first round is Mariah, Michelle, Kylant, and James against Asif, Raven, Jay, and Colleen. Raven confesses to us that she doesn't care if her team wins because Jay and Asif are against her. James's strength really comes in handy, securing his team the first win. Michelle is vindicated that she's not sabotaging her team. The next round sees Olivia and Horacio's team going head to head, and Corey falls, followed by Olivia, Nerys, and Emmanuel. The final round is Ed, Horacio, Zara, and Berna against Michelle, Kylant, James, and Mariah, and I'm sorry, this is all just a lot of listing names. It ends up being a bit chaotic, but eventually Ed, Horacio, Zara, and Berna are the winners and are safe from elimination, being Zara's 5th win this season. TJ tells the winners that it's going to be a girls' day and they have to nominate one woman to go into elimination. In the deliberation, they all have names they don't want to nominate. Raven's new final 2 with Zara comes in handy because Zara backs her. Berna wants to protect Colleen, but they end up nominating Colleen anyway, which frustrates Berna. The rest of the house will have to nominate one more vulnerable woman for elimination. Afterwards, Asif is speaking with Emmanuel and Colleen. He has an alliance diagram that Colleen drew that seems to have Michelle, Olivia, Jay, and Nerys in the center. Colleen wants to make a move against the people in the middle. Asif placates Colleen, but is not down because he tells us he's still a rider for the Fantastic Four. Asif meets with Jay and Michelle afterwards to instantly rat Colleen out. Colleen is already nominated, so they can't come for her much more. They acknowledge that there's a counter alliance forming in the house led by Kylant and Horacio. In confessional, Michelle refers to the rest of the challengers as worker bees, and she herself is the queen bee. She says she's going to be smooth sailing to the end, and Jay says the first chance he gets, he's coming for Horacio. The next day, Olivia once again points out that Horacio is becoming closer friends with Zara, and she's jealous. Horacio knows that she feels jealous and tells Zara that he still is going to be loyal to Olivia, and he knows that she's on the other side of the house as them. Colleen feels like the counter alliance in the house has a lot of problems that she's trying to manage. For some reason, she tells all of the counter alliance's problems to Jay. As for Raven, she knows she's probably going in, and she's brave and positive about it. Olivia and Jay talk, and at this point, they don't trust Nerys and Horacio anymore. They feel like they've lost them to each other. Jay tells Olivia that the reason that Olivia and Horacio were in the final last season is that everyone loved Olivia, and I don't agree with that statement. Horacio did a lot of the physical work. Kyland, Horacio, and Nerys meet up. The guys are scheming against Michelle. Colleen talks to Kyland later and tells him about her plots and plans. At this point, the house flip is gaining traction. Colleen says that if Kara is the mercenary, she can play to Kara's past, being an underdog, and convince her to pick a vet. In deliberation, Colleen and Raven make statements against the power structure. Everyone ends up voting for Raven. Kyland votes for Mariah, which seems random and makes no sense because even Raven votes for herself. At elimination, when TJ sees Raven is nominated, he's shocked, but I don't know why. Act like you've been here before, TJ. Also, aren't you the one wanting them to protect the money and send in the strong players? TJ announces that the champ will be Kara, and we get the awesome return of Kara looking beautiful. Before she draws, Kara asks the nominees how many times they've been down, and Colleen makes sure to point out that none of the other girls on the stage have been down at all. Kara is instantly down to help the nominees. Kara decides to create chaos and asks the other girls on stage who she should pick to go into elimination, starting with Michelle, who she calls Orange Shirt. Michelle doesn't want to give a name, so Kara says, okay, then it'll be you and I don't need to ask anyone else. Michelle was smart to not give a name here because the house is pretty evenly split, and if she gave a name, it would instantly isolate that person. And of course, Kara ends up pulling the mace and beckoning Orange Shirt, and she does call Michelle into elimination. Oh, and also Kara has fully leaned into her Boston accent now, and I kind of love it for her character. Their elimination is called Blockhead, where they'll be pushing heavy cubes with puzzles printed on the cubes to a platform where they'll then need to assemble the puzzle. I give the physical part of this to Kara, but Michelle is actually incredible with puzzles, so it's a pretty even matchup. In the beginning, Michelle is really struggling with her blocks, and Kara even leaves a block in Michelle's way on purpose, but by the time that Michelle gets to her puzzle, they're pretty even. Michelle ends up getting a lot of help from the house, even though she didn't really need it, because from the second they got to this puzzle, it was a conclusion that Michelle was going to win. Kara is confused, she's frustrated, Michelle is focused, she knows exactly what the puzzle should look like just by looking at it, and she beats Kara pretty handily and then gets up on the puzzle to celebrate. This was a really great moment for Michelle because she hasn't done the best in eliminations in her challenge career, so I feel like this episode did a lot for the lore of Michelle Fitzgerald. On the way out, Kara says that she's sure that we'll see her again, and I love that. I keep saying that I'm not a big fan of non-elimination episodes because they really are a waste of time, but with this being the first episode of the new year, a lot of people are going to be tuning into this to see the return of Kara. I feel like they did a really good job with the 90 minutes of painting the picture of the strategy for the future, and I feel like the origin stories of this house divide are really heating up and bubbling to a head. As we know, next week we're going to see the return of CT. I always felt like CT was going to go against Jay and eliminate Jay, but it would also be kind of cool for Jay to beat CT, or for a similar situation that happened with Michelle and Laurel to happen again with Jay and CT. I'm loving that we're getting fresh rivals or vendettas, if you will, this season. Obviously, there's Laurel and Michelle, CT and Jay, Asif and Kyland had a fight, Raven and Melissa, Olivia and Nerys now. You could even argue James and Johnny Bananas would be funny. So that's all I have for you today. I'll be back next Wednesday to talk about next week's episode. Also, I'm coming in this week with a Traitors cast analysis. But for now, if you liked the video, give me a like. Also, let me know in the comments, did I miss any rivalries that could have been formed this season? I look forward to hearing what you have to say. Until next week, have a nice weekend. Bye!